How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Roy 31. Mega, good evening and welcome to Bristol Dirt Week.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, not much to say other than it's going to be chaos. It's not our favorite track. It's, they take such a perfect short track and turn it into an absolute travesty on dirt. These are not cars that are meant for dirt tracks, and they're still trying to force it upon us with cool features and promos. It's just not going to work. It's never going to work. And we'll hopefully get them to realize that when another week goes by and nobody watches. I don't know what more to say. It's not my favorite, and I'm just slamming them out the gates. And I don't know, from a DFS angle, is there a way we can find ourselves at least making money this week?
I think you got to treat it like a plate race where you got bankroll management, and because there's so many unknown variables. So we're doing a video here again. I know if you want to shut us off, that's fine, because we don't have any actual data and I didn't even do a projection. So what we're basically going to look at is a couple things here. We had at least one race here last year. It doesn't help us with any of the newer drivers or some of the ringers that they brought in for this. We actually had a dirt race at a real dirt track last year in Truck in Knoxville. So we have that to look at too. And the Cup video is going to be a lot better, because we're actually going to have the qualifying heats done. So we're going to know where the starting positions are. So that one definitely is going to be more helpful. But we thought for those of you who want to play, we could do the best we could just to try to look at the people's history and pricing and just trying to make some educated guesses. But then again, you got to wait to see how they qualify. Now, the one thing that I learned from Trucks last year, because Trucks was a mess all over the place, but from the Cup, there was only 3 leaders that led more than one lap. So it's very, very, very hard to pass here. So you're definitely going to want to take whoever gets on the pole, and maybe the number 2, find guys that are in the top. And then maybe if there's somebody that is a good driver that we talked about and highlighted here, and they spin out or something in their heat and don't qualify well, then there might be some place differential. But you really don't want to be chasing a ton of place differential, because there are a decent amount of laps here. So you need to figure out who's going to dominate and be a lap leader there. Now, some of the other things that we can look at, and again, it's going to help for Cup, is they say that this track is kind of like a high tire wear track. So think of Atlanta, think of Homestead, think of Richmond, think of Fontana. Think of all these tracks that none of these trucks have run on this year yet.
Yeah.
So like I said, for Cup, we're going to have a ton of data points to go by. We're going to have a lot to look at too, actually having the heats run plus the practice. But for Trucks, we've had 2 practice sessions. And I think we really just need to weed out here who's going to go through the motions. I'll throw one name out there right now, John Hunter Nemechek. I don't think he's got a shot to win this race. I think he's going to go out there and be as conservative and as careful as he can, so he doesn't lose any more points, because he hasn't had the greatest start to the season, and then live to fight another day. And I think there's a lot of drivers there for that. And I think you're going to see some Cup drivers in here too. And I think that some of them are good plays and some of them are traps, because I think they're just here for practice.
Yeah. Just to kind of go off of your point on data points and everything, there's a couple of drivers in this field here that are really good on dirt tracks. I think that kind of history is something I'll lean on as well, or they're good on road courses, or they're good on short tracks in general. And then there's going to be guys, like you said, the John Hunter Nemecheks, that are not really specializing in this kind of field, that are just going to basically drive around. And that could be laps down, that could be in the middle of a wreck because you're not in the right position. So I'm going to be definitely looking at guys that I know ride dirt or short tracks well, and just kind of hope and pray that they get a good starting spot, or a spot that I can profit off of when it comes to starting positions. So let's get into that, and we'll start us off here at the top of salary here. Joey Logano and Chase Elliott, a couple of Cup drivers making their way down. Looks like both of these are going to be their, regular Cup affiliated. sponsors or manufacturers with, Ford and Penske helping out the Dave Gilliland racing team in the 54, and Hendrick, who has sponsored this 7 and winner of last week's race with William Byron, Chase Elliott in the 7 Spire Motorsports truck. So what are your thoughts on these two?
I really like Joey Logano. He actually won the Cup race last year.
And he won the Coliseum earlier this year.
Yes. Yeah. So I think he understands it. He understands the principles. We think it's a decent truck. I mean, we see the 54. Please don't think it the Xfinity 54, which is like the best. There's no number association there by any means, but it does look like it's a solid team. There's some good equipment here. I think he understands it. If you look at his practice times, he was 4th. Like I said, he won the Cup race last year here. And then for Chase Elliott, he finished 4th in the Cup race, I believe, last year after starting like 16th. So I think he's here for more than practice. I think that he's got a really strong truck here and has a legitimate shot to lead some laps here. And I think he understands the principles of it too.
Yeah. I'm probably going to favor Joey Logano as well, but I'm going to actually have more of these guys than say John Hunter Nemechek and maybe even Zane Smith. I'm not sure, depending on where he starts and how well he's, in practice he looked okay in 11th place last year, but I don't know. I'm going to lean on the experience of Logano and Elliott, and I know their truck's not going to be completely off compared to the others. Next up, though, is Stuart Friesen at 10-4, and this is a guy that NASCAR will use to test out their dirt tracks. The dirt track guru kind of, Stuart Friesen has, a ton of dirt track history. I mean, he is the prime play, in my opinion. He is the guy, right? You would agree?
Yeah, and I think if you look at his practice, the truck really hasn't been that fast here, but maybe he was just trying out different things, just to see or to adjust, or maybe it was the people around him too kind of slowed him down. But I do think he is probably one of the safest plays just based on his history. And like you said, they send him out to test things on dirt tracks, and he's definitely probably by far the most skilled driver on dirt that's going to be out there in this race. So yeah, I think he's a complete lock no matter where he starts.
Agreed. I think if you wanted to pick and choose between Logano and Elliott, that's fine, but make sure you play Friesen tomorrow in some way, shape, or form. Next up is Zane Smith, 10-2, having an excellent season so far. Is he going to bring that to a dirt track race?
I don't know. I think he's
yeah, that's what I don't either.
Yeah, is he going to? We've got a good thing going here, so just go out there. But if I look at it, last one he finished 7th in the track here. Average running position 11th. Average running position was 15th in Knoxville, where Stuart Friesen, who's the head of the class, was 14th. So I mean that's close. I love Zane Smith. I think he's quickly becoming one of my favorite truck drivers in the series. But again, he's GPP because I don't know how they're going to approach this. So yeah, and there's so many other guys that in the 10K range that have to be a priority, like Logano and Friesen. Or if I'm trying to be contrarian, I'm going to take Elliott over him just with Elliott's experience in driving. So
sure, yeah, you could take either Logano or Elliott. I think Zane Smith is going to be the contrarian low owned play that I would have interest in, because I'm like you. I'm not interested in John Hunter Nemechek. I got the same vibes. I don't like him at that price tag at 10K. I did think if I decided to fade either Friesen and or Elliott and Logano, I would have to pair them up with Zane Smith just for the FOMO, fear of missing out on the potential just continued dominance of Zane Smith's season. And front row is not a bad team anyway. Yeah, I could see it. Really good in first practice, kind of sketchy in practice too. I'm not sure if it's just because they liked what they saw and they just wanted him off the track before something crazy happened, because that's bound to it's going to be what we're seeing here in the foreseeable future with this race. So I could see them just hauling off the track and be like, look, we got it. And we'll just get ready for the heat races. We spoke pretty much on Nemechek. Anything to add?
No, he's a complete fade.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's gonna hit the fade list more times than not this year if he continues on the path he is now. Grant Enfinger at 8.98. I mean, some solid finishes. Just I never thought I'd think of Enfinger at dirt.
The only mild concern is he's in a TMS truck this year, and last year he might have been in the Thor Sports one.
Might have been the Thor, yeah.
So much better equipment. But the two top 10 running positions and, you know, 6th finish here actually led a few of the laps. You know, I could consider him in cash if I'm trying to, you know, but I think we have to look at him up against Ben Rhodes, and, you know, Ben Rhodes like finished 2nd here. He's had
really good practice times.
Yeah.
Ben Rhodes.
So I don't know if I can play Enfinger. No, maybe just to be contrarian, if I like Logano, something happens and there's a mechanical issue with the truck in the heats, and I don't think that they can get it fixed, then maybe I would fade Elliott and I'd try to go Enfinger and Rhodes in the same lineup. Because it's saving me about $200 there. And I think I'd have enough on the bottom players to potentially get that in. So I think he'd fit, like, he's in no man's land in pricing, because I think Rhodes has to be the priority.
Yeah, if Rhodes qualifies, you know, to, you know, front row or anywhere north of or south of 8th place, then I have, you know, nice interest in Ben Rhodes with the way that he looked in practice and last year in this race, finishing 3rd, I believe, or 4th. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. So a lot of interest in that truck. Any interest in Chandler Smith?
Not really.
I think he's a fade for me.
Yeah, I think you got to throw a couple things here. I think you got to throw out the Bristol track, because there were a lot of accidents there, and he got caught up in one of them. But in Knoxville, he had the average running position of 6.4, which is decent, but that was a wreck fest also. So I mean, that could have just been inflated. He might have won the war of attrition. So yeah, I think again he could play him in cash if he stays in the top 10. He's got a Kyle Busch truck. I mean, he's a little bit more of an aggressive guy, so I think that might bode well here in a track that's hard to pass. But again, his pricing's in no man's land, where you're making in cash scary choices not to play one of the core plays in favor of getting him in. It just doesn't make sense unless he for some reason just completely whiffs a turn and spins out and there's no damage to the truck, and you know, we think that he can be a place differential monster or something like that.
Sure. Next up, we have Ben Rhodes. We have talked about him. Anything else to add?
No, I think, you know, he's definitely, if you didn't have these cup ringers in here, he and Friesen would be the head of the class.
I agree. Yep, good call. All right, next up was a guy that I had no clue existed until you had shown me the projections for the week. Buddy Kofold? Foyd? I don't know. He's young. He's young. We're just going to call him the kid.
He likes mashed potatoes and steak and walks on the beach and playing video games. Yeah. We had to look him up on
TV dinners and beanbag chairs and Cheetos. Buddy Kofoid.
But he started racing dirt in California at age 14. He's won some prestigious dirt tournaments. So, but then the thing is okay, great. He can drive on dirt, but can he drive a truck? So, I mean, that's the difference. So had a really good first practice. The second one wasn't as good. But then again, maybe he made the adjustment. Actually, I'm sorry, it's flipped. His first practice was not good. His second one was pretty good. So I think, you know, speculation wise, who knows? So
The
maybe
way I see it is this kid is set up to drive in Kyle Busch's actual truck.
yeah.
And I'm sure Kyle Busch himself has his truck set up to his liking, like the way that he likes to turn into the corner, or, like there's multitudes of factors here that I just think this kid is way over his head. I'm going to be out. I'm not going to play him unless, of course, as always, he does poorly in the heat races and he's starting in the back of the field, but the car gets in on manufacturing points or something like that. And you're going to need to have that place differential at 9,300 because everyone's going to play him with Friesen. And, like you just have to throw up the block if you have to. But this kid starts anywhere in the top 10. I'm not playing him. I don't think he's going to have enough to pay off a salary of 93 without leading a bunch of laps. And I don't even know if this kid's going to, I don't know what this kid's going to do. So I'm out. Austin Dillon in the 20. What's that?
Before you move on, keep in mind too, he's not racing for points.
True.
So they can change pit strategy. They don't have to worry about stage points. They can get him out there. Like we said, like track position is key here. Like what if the first stage, if it, there's going to be chaos and stuff, but what if he pits early and then he can stay out there and keep track position? Because even though we did say that it is treated like a high tire wear track, I don't think the dirt is high tire wear.
Right.
I think just naturally they don't have grip. So I don't think older tires matter as much. Maybe I'll watch the race tomorrow and say, okay, I was completely wrong on that. But I think like some of these guys like Logano, Elliott, the ones that aren't there for practice, but a guy like this, these ringers that don't have to worry about trying to stay out there for stage points, because I think that's how some of these guys are going to try to salvage their days. Like, let's see if we can be up there for stage one. Get me up there for stage one. Get me up there for the end of stage two. And then, you know what? Let's just see if we have a good finish.
I could see it. All right. Next up, we're moving on to Austin Dillon in the 20 Young Motorsports 9,100.
This is practice.
No thanks.
Yeah, this is practice for him.
Yeah. He's not a good road course driver. He's not a good dirt track driver. Hell, he might not even be a good short track driver. No thanks for me. Matt Crafton in the 88 Thor Motorsports 8,900. Much rather play Crafton over both the gentlemen we just talked about. And if I can't get to Ben Rhodes and I have to settle on Crafton, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I like him. And I think you need to talk about Carson Hocevar in the same, although the Thor Sport truck is probably going to be better than the Nice one. I mean, Nice isn't garbage. They've actually been holding their own this year, but Hocevar like was right next to Austin Hill most of the time. And the Knoxville one, he had a 2.9 average running position in that one. And he just had some bad luck in Bristol, but he actually salvaged it and he was able to finish 21st, which is ahead of his 28th average running position. So I do think, between these two guys, that's why I have them marked as cash. They were third and fifth in practice today. I think both of them could be viable. And maybe you want to start a GPP lineup and just, fade all the prime guys if you think they're going to be over owned and maybe there's a wreck up front or something takes all of them out. And then you can play a line with like Enfinger and Crafton and Hocevar. Maybe you just make an other guy GPP line.
I was going to say, what if you just started with Ben Rhodes and you finished out this top tier with Crafton and Hocevar? Obviously this is all pending on starting position, but I think with or without starting position, you could tell me that, hey, Rhodes, Crafton, and Hocevar all finished in the top 5. I'd believe you. So, yeah, I like that strategy, that balanced approach with these two. Next up, we have Christian Eckes in the Nice 42. Any love?
No, because I think he was the one that was sharing with last year with Enfinger, correct?
Yeah.
And I don't think he got to run this last year because I don't see any data points.
Right.
He was like 11th. I mean, it's a good truck, but I think it's a GPP. I think I'd rather have the other two that we just talked to over him, definitely.
Agreed. Same goes for this next driver in Harrison Burton in the 17 David Gilliland machine. man, I'm struggling to even play this guy in a Wood Brothers car, so I don't know. You?
Yeah, it's practice. They're like, Harrison, you're not doing great this season. Here's a chance to get some leg up on your competition. So we're going to throw you out in a truck to try to learn how to drive on this. So when you get in your car, you're not going to embarrass yourself.
I would have to agree. Next up, I do like this driver here, Matt Benedetto, 18th average run position last year. Any love for the Rackley War Machine?
I don't know.
I like it.
Mechanically, I just worry about it on this track here.
True.
Benedetto, I mean, he's got actually,
it's risk versus reward for sure.
Yeah, like his ranking, like if you put everything all together, is like 4th out of all the drivers, but he just haven't had the speed this year. But you don't really need speed here. I don't know. GPP, I think he piques my interest, but I don't think he's a priority.
Like if he starts 26th, I'm going to be in. Anywhere in between like 18th and 20th, I don't know. Maybe. It all depends. But I like Deebs tomorrow. All right, Kaz Gralla in the Young Motorsports 02, 7,900. Any love?
No, I think he's more of an Xfinity guy. I don't really think he's great in a truck. His speed was 26 in practice. Like he's a road course guy, which kind of bodes well for him, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah, I don't see if he has the right equipment for this one. Ty Majeski in Thor Sport. I actually really like this play as another boomer bust play in that 66. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's 6th in practice. Like he had 2 pretty good sessions there. It's a good truck. Yeah, I think if 7K range might be no man's land with like, especially high 7K with the build. But if you're going like Logano, Friesen, and then dropping down and throwing in like Crafton or Hocevar, I think you could possibly get him in your lineup.
I can see it. Next up, we have Derek Kraus, 7,600. Any love for Kraus?
He did horrible here.
Yeah.
Last year.
Could have been bad luck.
But he did, if you look at his average running position at the other one in Knoxville, it was decent. So perhaps he does understand this. But I think, and please put it in the comments below if you remember who it was. There was somebody, I got to look it up, that was in that, it was just playing bumper cars, or like physically turned the whole Knoxville race into a demolition derby. When they realized they just kept purposely spinning out trucks. There were so many green-white checkers at it. It looked like the county fair demolition derby. It was so bad. And I think Kraus was the guy. So if I do find it out.
Yeah, it was Kraus.
It was?
It was. I
Okay.
remember the camera following Kraus after the race because they kept thinking like somebody would take him out or run into him, and I believe someone did. I can't remember who, but
yeah,
Kraus wrecked everyone last year.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So
maybe
I don't know
on the track though.
Maybe that cash is coming. Okay, maybe he keeps cash for like being able to drive on dirt, but he loses it for sportsmanship.
There you go. All right, next up is Parker Kligerman in the Henderson 75. Any love for Parker?
He did well here last year, finished 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And 16th, I mean, he's been average. The truck's been like average all season to a little bit above average. So, if he fits, I think has some floor. So I think he's a safe cash play, but I don't think he's got a super amount of upside. I don't see him busting up there and like leading laps or top 10ing it at all. But I could see him anywhere from like, 20 to like 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could go with that. All right, next up we have Tyler Ankrum in the 16, 7,300. I don't think that 35th
PFL award for last dirt race.
Did he? Okay, yeah.
I think so. Maybe not. Yeah. I think he finished 40th.
I'm going to be out on Ankrum then. Next up, we have Mike Marlar in the Rio Brothers Racing Machine. Any love?
I I don't know. This guy, he did run last year, but his average running finish was 28th, and he finished like 28th. So he's obviously a ringer, but I don't think this 33 Reum truck is really a good ride. So
Yeah, I
I don't know
agree.
if that truck's gonna make it to the end. So yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, same. Next up is
Haley D.
Haley Deegan and Tanner Gray, both in the David Gillen Racing 177,000. The other one's 6,800. Any love for these two?
Well, um, Haley wrecked in practice. So
Backup car,
yeah, she didn't
backup truck.
but if her results were decent, so she'd have to start like 20th or worse, I think, for me to consider her. Tanner would have to start probably 24th or worse, just looking at their average running position. But Haley finished 19th and Tanner finished 13th. And they're in the same stable as Joey Logano, who won this. So maybe, he's helping coach him a little bit there. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think they're both viable. I think I'd like Deegan over Gray, but then again, if she like qualifies horribly and it seems like there's issues with the backup truck, then I'd just probably be completely out on her.
Right. I would have to agree. All right, next up is Austin Wayne Self. I really like Austin Wayne Self on dirt tracks, short tracks. That is his jam. He is in the Nice Motorsports truck number 40.
That's because he's a cowboy.
Number 22.
Yeah.
He said because he's a cowboy. Definitely is. Gotta go cash lock here on Austin Wayne Self.
Yeah, he might Derek Kraus some people, but
Yeah, I like him starting anywhere between 15 and 25. I think that's perfect. Any love for Chase Purdy or Colby Howard?
Chase Purdy finished 18th last year, so he at least has top 20 potential. Average running positions weren't that bad, but again, I think you need him to like start 20th or worse to consider him here. I think he's better than the people that are below him in price.
All righty. Next up is, do we talk Chase Purdy and Colby Howard?
Oh yeah, Kobe Howard. I don't think I'm really interested. It's like 15th in practice, so put him as GPP because that piques my interest. But and there's only one McNally truck in this, and others two because Derek Kraus.
Oh, Derek Kraus, yeah.
So I don't know if Adam is my last guy. If I'm like right around 6,300, I'm gonna take him. I think
I have some interest in Colby Howard. This 91 truck is actually pretty good. Like he has a pretty solid engine. Now they have Derek Kraus there, someone with some experience on the dirt track. So I feel like the car setups would be pretty similar.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of interest in Colby Howard, not a ton. I want to see where he qualifies, but yeah, I kind of had him on my radar.
Yeah.
Next up is Jack Wood. No thanks. Timmy Hill in Hill Motorsports 59. He's always a play when he's driving.
He's had no speed in practice. I don't know if he could even qualify. It depends on if they only take 36 trucks in this field. I mean, if they take all 38, that's great. But if they cap it at like 36, then he's in danger of being one of the ones that isn't going to make it unless he finds some speed in these heats.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know, but I'm like you. I'll probably be out on Jack Wood. Timmy Hill next up, 5,900. Any love?
That's what we just talked about.
No, Jesus, sorry. Chris Wright, 58. Blaine Perkins, 56.
Not really interested in either one of them either. I don't think just with their form for the season, and they don't strike me as somebody that's going to figure out something I see even more challenging than driving a truck on a asphalt track.
Yeah, no thanks. Dean Thompson, Jessica Friesen.
Dean Thompson, perhaps. Jessica Friesen, she is actually run on dirt for years. And, she's Stuart Friesen's wife. So it's like a family thing. And, she didn't get to race it Bristol last year because it rained and there was no qualifying and she didn't have any owner's points, so she didn't get in on like formula. And then Knoxville, if I recall, she had a mechanical failure or somebody wrecked her early on, but she was doing decent before that point. So I think she's a cash play, and I think she's probably going to be highly owned and one of the at 5,300. Like, I think she's going to be very popular here, and I think she's probably your best value play out there.
Yeah, I like her finish starting anywhere north of 23rd. I think she'll set up for a really good value play. Tate Fogelman, I have slight interest in, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, if he starts 25th or back, we're fine. Average running position from 25th to 28th, 12th in practice. So, I mean, he was decent here. This on point truck hasn't been the greatest. There were a couple of races where we thought he might not even qualify, and maybe there was one or two where he didn't even qualify. But 23rd last year. So I think there's some potential here for him.
All right, next up, I'm just going to rattle off the rest here. Lawless Allen, Keith McGee, Andrew Gordon, Spencer Boyd, Norm Benning.
Maybe Lawless Allen. He looked like he had some speed in practice. Keith McGee, no. Jordan Anderson racing, and his numbers were horrible, dead last. Andrew Gordon actually ran both these two dirt races. 32 average running position, 30th. No, thank you there. Spencer Boyd, potentially. This is a really good truck. It's the one that Tate Fogelman was in last year. So I think that he maybe in a GPP, if I can fit it in, and then Norm Benning, no way. Norm Benning may not even qualify for this, even though I can't believe he somehow got into both dirt races last year.
That's wild. I don't think the same luck is going to happen for Norm Benning. Yeah, I'm like you. I have a little bit in Lawless Allen, but everyone else probably not. Is there any other strategies you wanted to go over for the Bristol dirt race?
No, like I said, if our viewers want, if we've made it this far in the video, then we'll let you know. Check back. Maybe we'll throw out some notes in the comments. You know, before the race after we see what the qualifying is, just to kind of give you some people like, hey, we talked about these people, but no way now. And like, yeah, we didn't discount these people, but now they actually turned out to be good plays.
Right. I would have to agree. All right, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. That is at MegaRuler31. You can find us on Twitter at FSI_DFS as well. You can find the link to the Discord in the bio, and you can find all the core plays, projections, and updates to anything over the weekend with the different difficult heat races to follow. So, you know, definitely want to tune into the Discord this week and get some of that extra information needed. All right, Mega, thank you for joining me this evening, and good luck in your treasure truck hunt in the dirt.
Happy Passover and happy Easter to those of you who celebrate.